Alright guys, so here again, this time with my good friend Jay. He's gonna guest star this one, so it's gonna be a little bit about the perception of learning the guitar. So a little bit of tips and tricks for you. But how about we get into talking about how we got into guitar. So I first learned how to play guitar basically from printing out tabs and everything, and I was into the Metallica kind of stuff and just the real quick picking, like, wasn't so into chords and everything. I think that was a downfall for me for a while. But yeah, it was back when I was in middle school or so, or really high school, and back before we had all these awesome YouTube channels and applications and whatnot. So it was all right. But yep, hard work. How about you, Jay?
For me, how I got into the guitar is I've always been interested throughout my life, but I never really gotten the chance to pick up the guitar and learn for myself, and eventually I went out and got one. And how I learned is completely different. Like, I know nothing about tabs. I just went purely off the sound and like what I wanted to play and learn. I didn't start off anything very sophisticated. I just started off with just simple rhythms and just learning the same 4 chords that were easy. Nothing like bar chords at first. Just learning how to play, just watching YouTube videos and seeing how it goes. Like, just matching the same exact finger positions and whatnot. And after a while, like, I just kept progressing and just trying a little bit newer and harder like techniques, hammer-ons, hammer-offs. And then from there on, it just kind of grew. I've only been playing for about a year now, so it just worked off from there. I can't really say too much about it. Like, I just went with what sounds great. I didn't really go off and say like, oh, I got to try this and whatnot, or you should start off by doing finger picking patterns or this. Like, I just wanted to do like what I wanted to do to learn and what sounded good. Like, I didn't really follow any pattern. So that's just the best way, is just to go out there and have fun with it and learn for yourself.
And I'll have to put in, I've been playing since late middle school, probably since like 2007 or so, right before high school. And to see Jay learn guitar in a year, it makes me a little jealous, because when I was learning, I mean, to pick up these chord shapes and everything so quickly is truly impressive. And I mean, I haven't really brushed up on those kind of skills until the last handful of years of my life. So it's awesome to see Jay learn this stuff.
Yeah,
so
like, even in the beginning when I first started, I knew nothing about chords. Like, I just watched people and where to put the finger positions at, and I just copied that and made sure it sounded good. So I just kind of learned at my own pace. I didn't like look up anything like, oh, what's the D chord, G chord, E chord. Like, I just looked it up on YouTube and figured out like where to place my fingers, got comfortable more and more with it.
Right.
And then after a while, I just kind of developed the knowledge for it, and it just sticks with you. So
yeah, that's what it's all about.
Lots and lots of practice.
And I'd have to say that's why we play guitar. I mean, it's, something to challenge us, something that, makes us feel like we could play with other people, a way to connect with people.
True.
It's just a part of life in a way.
So as we're talking about getting comfortable as a new guitar player, some key things that might help you become a better player is just simple things. Just start with how you holding the pick of your guitar. When I first started, I was holding it like really far at the tip like this, and then eventually I figured out, well, the right way to hold the pick is you want it really up close like this, to like where you just have like a little nubbin like that. And then you just learn the same chords just over and over. You just practice them, and once you get comfortable, it's not going to be easy at first, but one technique that kind of helps you learn the chords and just making sure that like you're transitioning at a proper rate, like rather than like taking your time and slowly like finger by finger forming the shape, just practice in your mind mentally, like picture how the shape of the chord is supposed to look and when you slam it down. So I mean, I know like going from like a G chord is not as easy as just like quickly going to an F like that. So just picture in your mind like, all right, the next shape is going to be something like this, rather than just slowly fingering like each one on there. And then once you keep doing that, it takes a lot of time and practice, but you'll get there. But once you get there, it's pretty smooth flowing. And
so in a way, it's like, when you're thinking about the next chord, it's like premeditating what you're going to be playing on the guitar. A lot of times I've heard, you don't even need a guitar pick. you might not even need your right hand to practice playing chords, but you might not be able to strum them. But anyways, it's like just thinking like, oh, I'm gonna go from an F to a C to a G to an F, C, G, and you just keep playing it like that. And you don't have to start off with 3. You don't need to start off with 4. You don't need to start with 5 different chords. You just need to think of 2 different chords. And once you realize you got a C chord, you have a G chord. You can just go back and forth between the 2. And just bounce back and forth, and that's pretty much it. I mean, and what that's going to do is it's going to build your it's like that second nature kind of feel of things. Lost for words right now on the correct term, but it's like what athletes have when they go out and play a sport or something. They have that muscle memory. That's what it is. So you're just going to build your muscle memory up until it's second nature. And then if you want to practice on strumming, you don't need to even think about playing your chords. Get comfortable with this hand before you start adding in more complicated equations. So if you want to play like down, down, up, down, you go rest, rest, down, down, up, down, if you're just going to play a slow song. And then when you want to get into the song, you've already gone in between C and G, so that's a bad way to show you, but it's the process of doing something like so.
Yeah, a lot of it does have to do with muscle memory and just getting the feel for the guitar. Like, just first picking it up, I know a lot of people, like, I even struggle just, like, having to look at my finger placements, making sure it's correct on the frets. You kind of want them higher up. At first, like, I was also had the issue of just not placing my fingers in the right position. So, like, some of my fingers will, like, be hitting multiple chords at one time. And so then you get, like, a bog feeling to it. And the strings will kind of, like, rattle or just not make any sound at all. Just mute. It just takes a lot of feel and practice to it, and just building up those calluses really do help, because I know, like, starting off, especially on acoustic, the strings are much thicker, so you'll end up building calluses faster, and it will hurt, like, after playing only 10, 15 minutes of time. But if you play, the more and more you play, the faster you build up those calluses, and the faster you'll be able to learn. I've been playing, like, at least 2 hours every day ever since I started, and I just committed to it. And after, like, you play for 2 hours every day, you really begin to build up those calluses, and then you get the feel for it, and then to the point where you can just practice more and more. It's really hard at first, though, like, when you don't have the callus or the feel for it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would say, too, and to add to what Jay said, like, when you're playing a chord, I mean, and, making sure your fingers are on the right strings. That's an F chord, and I'm barring it. So if you could strum all the way through, and you could hear every single string ring out, you're doing something right. But if you're hearing that, you might want to work on that one chord. And you could play a song with 3 different chords, and it'll be that one chord that's always tripping you up. So you just got to keep working at it, and don't give up. So you just want to keep making sure you're playing that string clean, even if you're just playing the same chord over and over, or even switching between 2 different ones. It's worth it, trust me.
Yeah, that's the best practice, especially like those F bar chords. Those took me the longest to try to get down, because it takes a lot of muscle and just memory of putting into that position. It's not easy. Like, when I first started, I would always just bog it out, and I would just miss a note, especially when barring it. Like, I couldn't get it flat all the way across to ring out perfectly. So it's definitely a hard one to pick up on, but just practice, just going back and forth between notes, and eventually you'll get it.
Right. Yeah, and that kind of leads us into the next thing we want to talk about is playing, like, bar chords, and also adding on to certain chords, like, you could always add in little trill things with your pinky or other fingers. So, like, another thing, too, is let's start off a little easier. Like, too, if you're playing, like, a bar chord, you could still be playing a G. So, you can play a G, but then you can play it in a bar chord. Same chord. Just a different way to play it. So, just because you're playing in that F kind of shape, barred F shape, doesn't mean you can't play more. And the biggest trick to it is, you got your F, you go up a half step, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, and then you're back to E, which would be played like that. And if just so you guys, if you guys don't know, or if you guys have forgotten, every time you hit that 12th fret, that's the same note as an open note. So basically that's an octave once you hit 12. So just a quick little brush up on that if you guys don't know. You want to talk about the...
Well, that was a lot of the thing when I first started. I noticed there's a huge difference just doing like little hammer-ons and offs, just playing with your fingers, just little things, just pinkies on, off, or just lifting off on a finger.
Add a lot to a song.
Yeah, it just really spices it up and adds more frequency to it. And then especially the bar chords, that's one of my favorite that I'm glad that I've learned though, because there's so much possibilities that you can learn just using a bar chord, just playing up and down the neck. There's so many different sounds that you can play. It really adds to the creativeness. But
absolutely, that's your soul right there. I mean, that's your soul telling you to take your pinky off that string and put it back on a second later. So
right. Like you can play the same 4 notes, and it sounds just great. But the second you add on a pinky, it just sounds so much more clean and fulfilling when you can add a little bit of tweaks to that.
You want to play like a G, C, and D, and then just a basic G, C, and D, and then add the little...
Oh, yeah. So it's just like a simple riff, it's just, you can go from... But once you start adding like more rhythms and playing with your fingers more, just playing around, you can add the song and make it sound like a completely different tone, especially with the way you strum it. Just... Just like that. It just
big
sounds,
difference.
Yeah. It makes it different sound.
Just because not everyone's trying to be a guitar tech and everything like that, you're going to be listening subconsciously to these little differences, and that's what's going to draw your ear to it. And I mean, it's just, again, just another way to put extra soul into a song. So I mean, that's for bar chords, you're going to want to look at your scales and everything on your guitar and realize really, you can play any note you want, bar chorded. And it's going to be the same shape as this, but those again are going to add a different, little bit lower kind of tone to it. And then like what Jay just showed you guys is you could add a lot by. And I'd have to say he definitely stressed on the D chord, and that is probably one of the best chords because you're already, especially if you're playing like G, and then you're going to the D, you got 2 fingers. You could pull this middle finger off the second on the high E, and then you could always add this pinky in on the third on the high E as well. And it's just, you're already on that high kind of point of your chord progression, and it just almost adds like a glycerine kind of like shining effect to it.
Yeah, perfect. You'd be surprised about like how much of a tone you can milk out of just a single chord, just like that, and it makes the hugest difference. And a lot of us just have fun with it. Don't stress yourself out too much. Just play some of the simple chords at first, and just find a rhythm that just sounds good. Just have fun. Don't get too worked up about it. It takes a lot of time and practice. Like I've said, I've played for hours and hours a day to get to where I am. Yep.
I remember playing hours and hours a day as well, and shoot, a lot of times, I mean, I can't tell you when the last time I didn't pick a guitar up. I mean, it's something you really got to enjoy doing, and you really got to work for it. So, but there's a guitar player in everybody. You just got to put the time in.
Right.
So, honestly, I think we've covered a good amount of basics right now. I think this is kind of like one of the biggest things someone wants to play guitar and sing. Well, it's kind of hard just to jump in and do that. So we've added a couple tips together in beginning guitar and singing. But I hope you guys really take into consideration all the other things we've talked about and work on those before you even try doing this, because it could make it a lot more difficult. But you never know. Maybe you'll be the next big thing, and you might pick a guitar up and sing, I don't know, Wagon Wheel or something like that, and it'll be grade A perfection. So what do you think for like singing and chords?
Singing and strumming, like I picked up on it like somewhat fast, but I put a lot of time and practice into it. Some songs are easier than others.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that right now. Like, it's just finding the right rhythm. It's kind of like scratching your head and patting your belly at the same time, though. Like, because you're doing a strumming pattern and singing, so like you can't really think and strum at the same time while you're singing.
Right.
But after a while, like you just find the rhythm to it, and if you listen to a certain song that you like a lot, you eventually just kind of get the tone into it.
Right.
And once you just get really comfortable playing the chords, it just gets easier from there. It does take a lot of practice, so it's nothing that you're going to pick up right away.
Mm-hmm.
But
you talked about it was the first time I ever heard it. I really liked the expression you said. It was like painting or something, and it's like, you know, if someone paints every day, it's second nature to them. So
right,
that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, it's just it's art. It's nothing that, you know, you're gonna pick up right away and be great at it. It's just something that, you know, you just get a feel for it, and that's a lot of what I did. Is like I didn't really follow any rule books. I didn't like look through online like how to play a G chord or E chord. Like I literally just gone through videos.
Right.
And they said place your hand like this, and then place your hand in an E chord. And like I literally just looked at how they were placing their hands, and I was like, all right, that sounds right. And then from there on, I was like, I just memorized from there. I didn't try to follow like any certain lesson or learning pattern. Like I don't even know the platonic scale or anything, but I can still make a song sound great and sing along.
Right.
So
Yeah. Well, it's like, you know, you got to learn how to paint before you paint upside down, I guess, in a way. You know what I mean? Like, learn how to do your trait before you start adding in other equations. So we got, and I'd have to say, like, for me, you know, I really struggled playing guitar and singing. In fact, the first time I ever sung, I think I just recorded myself on like a MP3 player or something, and I was truly appalled. It was just one of the most awful things I've ever heard. And it wasn't until I started practicing singing, and I've been practicing playing chords, that I finally felt, you know, I could catch on to certain chord progressions. And a big thing to me is, you know, someone might be able to play like a, you know, upbeat kind of like really strummy kind of light chord progression, and then they might be able to sing to that instantly. Other people might have to be like slower, but they might be able to do that too. So just because you can't play your favorite song and sing and play guitar at the same time doesn't mean you can't do it. You need to find something that's going to benefit you in a way that makes you feel good, and another way that, you know, you feel comfortable playing. So there's a lot involved with it, especially with just practicing your lyrics. And, you know, another thing too is if you're just reading the chords and strumming while you're reading the chords, I even have a hard time doing that sometimes. If you want to be the best at singing and playing guitar, you have to memorize your lyrics. It just makes a world of a difference.
Yeah, definitely. Memorizing lyrics is like the first part, so that way you don't have to like keep reading something. Because then if you're trying to read, play, and sing at the same time, that's just like another task that you're piling up on top of what you're doing. So if you know what you're playing, that's easy. And another thing though is just don't try to strain yourself on like playing like one of your most popular favorite rock songs or whatever that's really fast paced. Start off something with that's just easy 4 notes, nothing that's too wild or crazy, and then start working in like extra pitches, hammer-ons, hammer-off stretches, whatever you want to do. Just that's what I take out of it, because I've tried playing like some harder rock songs, and at first like there's no way you're gonna pick up on like anything that's F chords right away. Just start off with a simple G, E minor, C, Ds.
Yeah, and you know, you could honestly play almost any song and with those 4 chords. If you learn a little bit about circle fifths and everything like that, and where those chords will fall with the capo, you could always capo up here. And, you know, just because you're playing a G right here doesn't mean you can't play an A if you capo it up on the 2nd fret. And here's an A. Same thing. It's just a matter of using a tool that is designed for guitar to make it even easier. So that's another way to help yourself. If you can't sing a song how you want to play it, your voice might just not be in that vocal range. You could practice and practice and practice, but if it doesn't feel natural to you, it's probably not going to sound the best. But you could always mess around with different scales and different capo points until you feel truly comfortable singing that song. So I think the last thing to the whole singing and playing guitar is, at the end of the day, practice makes perfect. Like Jay was saying, he plays 2 hours every day, and it's been going on for a year, and he's gotten really far at playing guitar.
Yeah, practice is all that takes. I mean, for me, I literally just played music or like YouTube videos. That's what I've learned off of. So I didn't like the school techniques of like, all right, we'll start off with like a finger pick or like any instructor telling you what to do. I just went out there and did what
pushes you away.
Yeah, just what I wanted to do and just whatever I could do to make it sound good, and then work off from there. And I'd find a good easy song to strum along to, and then eventually I tried singing along to it, and took a little bit of practice. But once you figure out the tone on when to strum and hit the notes, and you get comfortable with playing the same chords, it's a lot easier to sing along with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, practice makes perfect. So I think that pretty much wraps it up for today. You got anything else?
Yeah, that's just about it. Just go out there, have fun with it, and just practice.
Yep.
I mean, have fun. Don't get too.
Yeah, if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. I mean, first and foremost.
Yeah.
Probably should have said at the beginning of the video, but whatever.
Right.
So yeah, I hope you guys like this video. So I hope you guys are subscribing, comment, and definitely tune in next time, and we'll have Jay back on the show again. So, thanks for being here, and
yeah, thanks for having me.
Next time you'll be here. So, all right, man.
Cool. Rock on.
Thank you.